This is the Louie Tee Network.
Who else could it be but me, your man, Louie Tee? Welcome to lockdown coverage week number 16 in the National Football League, getting down to the nitty-gritty of this NFL regular season. Things are starting to become much clearer, playoff picture becoming more defined and crystallized, and this was a big game that was going to determine how the AFC was going to be shaped. Denver Broncos had a game later on in the weekend on Sunday. If the Dolphins could get a win here, coupled with a Broncos loss, Dolphins are in. Buffalo Bills clinging to a small ray of hope in the AFC playoffs as a wild card team. Going to need to win out and get a ton of help. But we've seen stranger things happen. They needed to win this game at home. And I've talked about seasons going to die in Buffalo. One almost did in this football game. Might not have been as catastrophic now knowing what we know about the Denver Broncos and the outcome of that game on Sunday and seeing the Ravens lose as well. All boded well for the Dolphins had they lost this football game. But as I always say, this time of the season, don't worry about what anyone else is doing. Just win. And that's what the Dolphins were able to accomplish in a wild contest out in Orchard Park, New York, between these two AFC East family members. You know how it goes. If these two teams say they ain't did it, then they ain't did it. But if they did, well, that's family business. And this was some great family business late in December. We'll break this game down here in a second. But first, if you haven't already done so, what are you waiting on? Subscribe to the Louie Tee Network for more great content in 2016 and beyond. We're changing the game over here. I want you to help us do that by simply hitting that red subscribe button on YouTube and subbing up to the Louie Tee Network. Also, I'm on Twitter at InTheLabRoom is the Twitter handle. Go ahead and follow me on Twitter. I'm also on Facebook. In the Lab Room is the Facebook page. Go ahead, like that as well. All my social media platforms up above in the screen, scrolling across, so you don't miss any opportunities and you can't say, I forgot, I didn't know what it was called. It's right there for your viewing pleasure. With that being said, let's jump into this breakdown. We start with the victors. To the victors go the spoils, always here on lockdown coverage on the Louie Tee Network. We start with the Miami Dolphins. What an exhilarating win. This was a roller coaster of emotions for Dolphins fans watching this football game. First, you're up big. Then you're tied. Then you got a shot to win the game. Then you've got a shot to lose the game. Then you go to overtime with a clutch kick by Andrew Franks. Then it looks like you're going to potentially lose in overtime initially. Then you say, okay, we might be down a field goal. We're going to have a shot to tie this thing up. They missed. You get an opportunity. You don't score. It was just so much back and forth in this game. You didn't know what was going to happen, but ultimately the Dolphins got it done. Let's talk about how they were able to accomplish that goal of getting this win and ultimately clinching a wild card berth in the AFC conference. First things first, you get steady play from Matt Moore. And I know Jay Ajayi was just as big a part of this victory as Matt Moore was. But keep in mind, without good quarterback play, this is not possible. He did have the one mistake right before the half, throwing the interception, ill-advised throw and decision. Yes, but Matt Moore had a steady hand in this game, made plays when plays had to be made the smart decision time and time again with the football. Like I said, outside of the one interception right before the half, I thought Matt Moore gave this Dolphins team a chance. And the reason he didn't have to do as much in this game was because of the running game and Jay Ajayi. And he's been remarkable this season. His third 200-yard rushing effort of the season. One of four backs in NFL history to do that. And you just continue to marvel at what he's done this season and how well he's been able to run the football. You look at all of the different things that transpired in this game for the Dolphins. They made some really big plays. You had Devontae Parker stepping up with a big catch and run. You had a big run by Ajayi in overtime to set up the game-winning score. You had a big run for a touchdown by Kenyon Drake. He's been phenomenal for you this season, and he even had a big play on special teams late in this ball game, down 3, needing a score. He gets the football damn near out to the 40-yard line, which puts you in a position to get that field goal to tie the game up. So even special teams chipping in for this Dolphins football team. But offensively, you like what you saw from this offensive line. And again, when they're healthy, when guys are out there doing their jobs, this Dolphins football team, and I've talked about this enough. I'm not going to continue to harp on it. You've heard me say this enough times if you've been watching me. This is one of the most talented football teams offensively in this league. The Dolphins have talent everywhere. Deion Sims with a big catch and run on a 3rd down. Didn't look like he was going to get it on a screen, and he finds a way to turn it up the field, drag a defender, and get 7 on 3rd and 6. Those are the types of plays you don't really think about, but those are the types of plays that help you win football games. There's talent smattered all over this Dolphins offense. Kenny Stills with another touchdown grab in this game. They got it done with a collective effort. Jay Ajayi on the ground dominating, a little sprinkle of Kenyon Drake. All the receivers coming in and doing something of some note to help them get this W. The offensive line protecting, and Matt Moore doing his job at the quarterback position. It was a beautiful effort on the part of this Dolphins offense to score 34 on the road in Buffalo in December. That's big-time football by this Dolphins offense. Now, let's talk about this defense, because this is the one area that I'm concerned about. I actually think the Dolphins have a strong special teams unit. Andrew Franks did miss an extra point in this game, but when they needed him the most, he was clutch. And he didn't miss a field goal, okay? But when they needed him the most, I don't know if he missed an extra point. Take that back. I know he missed a field goal. Both kickers missed a field goal. Carpenter actually missed 2. We'll talk about that when we get to the Bills. But Andrew Franks was clutch. That's clutch money right there. 55 yards, no timeouts. You got to rush the special teams unit onto the field. That's clutch money, okay? I talked about the Kenyon Drake return on that final possession of the game in regulation that set them up right around the 37-yard line or so. Big return, okay? You need field position at that point of the game to try to get you in the field goal range, and that was a huge return. Special teams, think that's a strong suit for the Dolphins. They've won games on special teams this year. Kenyon Drake with a kickoff return versus the Jets to win them that football game. They've played well on special teams. I think that's the strength of this team. Offense, strength of this team. Okay, we saw what they did to the Jets a few weeks ago. We saw what they did in this game to the Bills. They can score, and this is all being done with a backup quarterback. They can score points offensively. The defense, which I thought was a strength going into the season, looks to be a little bit of a weakness. Now, granted, the Bills are one of the best rushing teams in the league, so you want to give them a slight pass there because the Bills run on just about everyone. They're no different. However, the big plays being given up, that's a problem. Okay, and luckily enough for this team, they're not going to see a scrambling quarterback in the playoffs because they can't stop scrambling quarterbacks. We saw what Colin Kaepernick did to this football team a few weeks ago, when the San Francisco 49ers went to Miami and almost pulled out an improbable come-from-behind victory. We saw what Tyrod Taylor did in this game. They have trouble with mobile quarterbacks. You're probably not going to see one of those in the playoffs unless you run into the Kansas City Chiefs. Then you may have a problem on your hands. We'll see. But my biggest issue is this offense is doing all they can to put you out in front, and they're asking you to go out and protect leads, and you're incapable of doing that. You're up 28-14. You've got a chance. You've got the Bills right where you want them. Knockout blow could potentially be coming. And I understand there was another instance in this game, up 21-7, where you're thinking, hey, we just got to stop on 4th down. Offense gave you great field position. Go put these boys out of their misery, and you go 3 and out. I get it. But here's an opportunity, up 28-14 in the second half. You kick off the football, and you say, all right, defense, go get us a stop. You get us the ball one more time, we might be able to put this game to rest. And what do? You give up a big ball to Sammy Watkins, and 2 plays later, they're in the end zone with Charles Clay, and just like that, it's 28-21. Before you know it, it's 28-24, and next thing you know, it's 31-28. You're down in this football game. The defense hasn't been able to hold leads this season. You saw that against the San Francisco 49ers, like I just mentioned. They've had opportunities to put teams away. They haven't done that this season. That scares me because we talk about this pass rush and all of the things that they're supposed to be able to do. We know the secondary is a weakness. We know that. That's a fact. That's beyond their control at this point. There's really not much you're going to be able to do at this point of the season. You just got to make do with what you have. But you got guys up front that should be able to generate pressure on the quarterback. Weren't able to really do that in this football game, and you paid for it. And this defense has to be better down the stretch if you're going to be a legit contender in the playoffs. If you want to advance, you're going to have to play better defensively. You gave it up on the ground in this game. You gave it up through the air in this game. You gave up points when you had a nice, solid cushion up 14. You got to be able to put teams away in this league. You didn't do that in this game. You allowed the Bills to hang around. And like I said, it was just quick. It was too quick. You give up the deep ball to Sammy Watkins for a touchdown. You give up another deep ball on a flea flicker to Robert Woods. You give up another deep ball to Sammy Watkins to get them into scoring range. You're giving up too many deep shots, too many big plays defensively. You're making it too easy on the opposing offense. Make them work for whatever they get. Generally speaking, in this league, it's hard to go 13 plays and score. But when you're letting teams have 4-play drives, 2 of which are big deep balls and chunk plays, you're going to give up some touchdowns. You're going to give up points. You're going to make it tougher on your offense, who's already doing as much as they possibly can to help you win. So that's the one thing that concerns me with this Dolphins team right now, is their inability to get stops, giving up big plays, giving up points. How about holding a team to a field goal and not giving up a touchdown? How about wrapping up Charles Clay and not bouncing him off of 2 defenders and letting him walk into the end zone? How about stopping Shady McCoy and getting that shoestring tackle and not letting him break and point at a defender as he runs into the end zone? How about getting a stop and forcing a team to earn their way into the end zone? Got to do that if you're the Miami Dolphins. But another clutch victory for this Dolphins team. I did not see them getting this win in Buffalo. This was improbable to me. And they had opportunities to lose this football game after giving up the touchdown on 4th down to Charles Clay. This looked like it was over. You look at that Dolphins team, they've got no timeouts remaining. You say to yourself, they're down 3. That was a hurtful blow. 4th down, you think you got them. They get the touchdown. They go up 3. You don't have any timeouts. You got to go the length of the field to get in the field goal range. And for some reason, dumb Damian Williams doesn't get out of bounds. And so now you got to race the field goal team onto the field because you don't have any more timeouts. From 55 yards in Buffalo with those swirling winds, Andrew Franks delivers. That's clutch. That's clutch. To get it done, Jay Ajayi, to do what he did on the ground. He was getting chunks the entire day. 8, 6, 9, 12, 4, 3, 53 in overtime. That's what this team needs moving forward if they're going to advance in the postseason. Jay Ajayi to get back on track. That offensive line has to stay healthy, and they're going to need whomever is that quarterback. Matt Moore, Ryan Tannehill, I don't give a damn. They've got to play smart and make sure they don't turn the football over. What a win by this Dolphins football team. Indeed, as they get it done 34-31 in overtime in Buffalo. Wow, that's impressive. And they clinch a playoff berth via the loss by the Broncos on Sunday Night Football. We'll come back to the Dolphins. Let's talk about the Bills in this game. They had faint playoff hopes going into this game. Those have been dashed with this loss. They had opportunities. I'll tell you what, Rex Ryan and Tyrod Taylor gave you something to think about with this game. And I know if you're a Bills fan, you're probably over Rex Ryan. You want him gone. But again, Rex does just enough, and he did the same thing in New York. He does just enough at the end of a season to make you think, hey, maybe he deserves another shot. And when you look at some of the circumstances surrounding this Bills team this year with all the injuries, especially to the receiver position, and Tyrod Taylor not having anybody to really throw the football to, you see Sammy Watkins out there making plays, and you start thinking to yourself, what if we were healthy all season long? What if we had our guns? What if Tyrod Taylor looked good in this game? What if he had Sammy Watkins, Charles Clay healthy all season long? What if Shady McCoy was able to run like that, and he basically has, but what if he was running like that all season long? Tyrod Taylor looked like a different quarterback in this game. So now it makes you think, it makes you ponder and wonder, do we hold on to him? Do we pay him that big cap number that we have coming his way this year? Do we pay him that money? Or do we part ways and figure out if Cardale Jones or someone else is the future at the quarterback position for this football team? They gave you something to think about. This was an extraordinary offensive performance by the Bills. Once again, though, that defense, which is what you brought Rex Ryan here for, okay? You thought your defense was good. It was good under your last defensive coordinator. And you wanted Jim Schwartz, probably some of you out there wanted him to get the job because the defense was so dominant under Jim Schwartz. Now you get Rex in there, and the defense stinks. And it hurts you again today. The run defense has been shoddy all season long. The tackling has been a problem all season long. And those two things doomed you yet again in this game. How many times are you going to see guys coming in with shoulders thinking they're going to knock somebody down, looking for the knockout blow instead of wrapping up? Devontae Parker touchdown. What the hell was that? Coming in with a shoulder, thinking you're going to do something, and this is a 6'3", 6'4" receiver we're talking about here that weighs about 215, 220, and he bounces right off of that BS tackle attempt and runs right into the end zone from about 55 yards out for a score. That's losing football. That is losing football. Jay Ajayi breaking through tackles, running through arm tackles. Deion Sims catching a screen on 3rd and 6 and getting 7. Too many missed tackles in this game for the... What about the touchdown? What about the touchdown run? You got a guy going into the hole. There's nothing there. He stops, reverses field, and runs out, and there is no Bills defenders in sight. More poor tackling, more bad gap discipline by the Buffalo Bills. Another touchdown. This Bills defense has been a disappointment since Rex Ryan has gotten to Buffalo. And they did it again in this game because the offense was, like I said, they were lights out. You'd like to think if you can score 31, you're supposed to win. And you had the Dolphins right where you wanted them late in this ball game, and you couldn't get a stop. You let them get down the field. Special teams did not help, giving up the big play there. Nice return. And look, bottom line is, you had opportunities in this game if you're the Bills. For all of the good you did offensively, for all of the bad you did defensively, you had your chances. You had 2 missed field goals by Dan Carpenter. Not a Dan Carpenter fan. And this one stung because you had opportunities, missed a field goal early in the game, missed a field goal late. And I thought it was bad execution by the Bills in overtime on that one possession, the first one. Don't get cute here. Don't get cute. Shady McCoy is having an excellent day. Tyrod's having a great day running and throwing. Don't get cute here with some trickeration and a fake handoff and a reverse to Reggie Bush, and that loses you about 8 or 9 yards. What are you doing? This is not the time to get cute. Again, trying to outsmart the opponent, you outsmart yourself. And those 8 or 9 yards that was lost on that play, that hurts you big time because he didn't miss that field goal from 45 yards by much. If that field goal is from 37 yards or even 40, that's in. But it was from 45 and it was out. But you still expect your kicker to make that anyway. When you look across the sidelines and you see Andrew Franks drilling it from 55 with the game on the line and your kicker can't deliver from 45, that stings. That hurts. But in any event, that's really frustrating if you're the Buffalo Bills, to have opportunities in this game and to not get it done. You just feel like you're doomed. And so the Bills had opportunities in this game. I'm trying to get my comments to work because I know you guys have comments that you want read and you have some things you want to say. And I definitely want to interact with you guys. So I'm going to restart this page and see if I can get to some of your comments. Big win for the Dolphins, though. Debilitating loss for the Bills. Now they got a lot of questions to answer. Do the Buffalo Bills because, like I said, the effort down the stretch of this season was good enough to say, all right, Rex, you might deserve another shot. And Tyrod Taylor's play down the stretch was good enough for you to say, all right, Tyrod, we'll give you one more look, see what you're about. So they got some questions in Buffalo. And I don't know if they have the answers. And we heard over the weekend that GM Doug Whaley didn't give Rex Ryan the vote of confidence that you're accustomed to seeing your GM give your head coach this time of the year if he's going to be back. So we're gonna see in Buffalo. There's honestly not a lot of things that we can say for certain in Buffalo right now. With that being said, though, let me get to some of your comments on this football game. SoFlo Sports says, you better tell me you already drank the Dolphins juice. I did. I actually took a sip of the Dolphins juice on Saturday after you guys won this game. It took a while. I'm not going to lie to you because I didn't think you were going to win this game in Buffalo. So you knew I was going to drink the juice before the game. And after seeing the Bills take the lead up 31-28 with, seconds left in the game, I'm like, yeah, not taking a sip of that. But you guys pulled it out. That was clutch. Like I said, that was really clutch. Andrew Franks came through in the clutch with that 55-yarder. And you got it done. It wasn't pretty, but as I always say, it was gritty, and it was a W, and a big one at that. As the Dolphins go to 10-5 on the season. SoFlo Sports also says, great day from Ajayi and company, but the Dolphins defense better tighten the F up for the playoffs. And I basically said that. I basically said that the first 7 to 12 minutes of the video is that this defense has to play better or you'll be having an early exit in the playoffs. Bossaholic says Rex Ryan going to be an analyst for the Louie Tee Network next season, in my opinion. Oh, yeah? So, in other words, you're saying he's going to get fired. Most likely, I think you're right, but we'll see. Daniel Maddow says, Matt Moore has done a nice job filling in for Ryan, but the team won't go as far without Ryan. Matt makes too many mistakes at critical moments. I disagree. I didn't think he made too many critical mistakes. He had the one bad decision right before the half. But this team, you want Ryan Tannehill in there. Let's get that straight. I had someone ask me yesterday, Ryan or Matt? I'm like, if you got a healthy Ryan Tannehill and you're confident that he's okay and you feel good about putting him in there, he was able to practice the entire week. It's really not a discussion to have. Ryan Tannehill is your starting quarterback. You want him to get this playoff experience. You take him and you stick him in that ball game and you give him a shot. Bossaholic says, what's next for the Bills? Fire Rex, let go of Tyrod? That's the question I just posed about 5 minutes ago. Is what's next for them? You don't know. Really, that's the crazy part about this Bills season is that it ended in such a way where they weren't bad enough for you to say everybody's got to go, clean house, let's start over. But they didn't play well enough to make it to the postseason. So what do? Rex Ryan, the defense still isn't any good. And if you look at Rex, that's his MO. If you can't get the defense to play, what are you here for? So I don't know if Rex is going to survive, but Tyrod Taylor has played well down the stretch. I was disappointed in Tyrod this season. I'm not going to lie, not going to mix words. I've said that already. Disappointed in the way he played, especially from the pocket. His inaccuracies have cost his team this season. However, he was accurate today or on Saturday, and he played well the week prior. So I don't know. I don't know, and that's the biggest problem right now in Buffalo is that you don't know what the future holds for anyone. GM Doug Whaley, head coach Rex Ryan, quarterback Tyrod Taylor, you don't know. You just don't know right now. Daniel Maddow says, how is Adam Gase not a top candidate for Coach of the Year? I get the fascination with Dallas, but it takes this team from 1-4 to 10-5. It's pretty incredible. I get that. And you know how it is. It's a big-time media market in Dallas, East Coast bias, all of that good stuff. Dallas Cowboys have been magnificent this year. He doesn't stand a chance. But like you said, who thought this team would be at 10-5 after starting 1-4? Raise your hand. I'm not going to see many hands, okay? The job that he's done has been incredible. And I agree. His name should be right there when you start talking about coaches of the year. This has just been a remarkable job he's done this season. Just amazing. 1-4. I left this Dolphins team for dead. Hell, after they beat Cleveland, I said this team isn't any good. And that was a win. That was a win. I think they went on and lost the next week. It's just amazing. It is. I agree with you. Jacoa Chenault says, how are the Finns playing in the playoffs? Do you see us winning? Depends on matchup. Styles make fights. And that's what it's going to come down to. Who do you draw as a matchup? Right now, it looks like you're going to have to play the Steelers again. If that is indeed the matchup, I don't know if I like that matchup or not. I don't like your run defense right now, Le'Veon Bell. Like I said, the last time you played them, the Steelers were in a different place. They were banged up. They were dealing with a number of different things. And that game was in Miami. This game would be in Pittsburgh. The Steelers are playing with a much better level of confidence offensively. Now, you can do some things to that Steelers defense. With your talent and the way that you're playing, you can run the ball on the Steelers like you did the first time around. You can score points on the Steelers like you did the first time around. My question is, can you stop them defensively the second time around? That'll be my question, but we'll see. Daniel Maddow says, Bakari Rambo got exposed repeatedly in this game, partly because of their O-line did a really good job of chipping Wake and giving Taylor all the time in the world. No pressure equals trouble. And I talked about that. They have to get more pressure on the quarterback. This is something that you got to do. You got to get pressure on the quarterback. And if it's as simple as chipping Wake to stop you from getting pressure on the quarterback, you're going to be in a world of hurt come playoff time because you can't sit back and give Ben Roethlisberger a ton of time or else you're going to give up points. Jay Orion says, the Miami Dolphins may be the most disrespected team with a winning record. I don't know if that's true or not. I mean, you look at the Houston Texans. Who respects them right now? I don't think the Dolphins are the most disrespected team with a winning record, but I think they're one of those teams going under the radar for sure because I don't think teams respect the quarterback position in Miami. They don't respect the Dolphins' defense as much as they probably should, and maybe rightfully so after watching this performance. I'm not all that impressed with the Dolphins' defense either, but bottom line, this is a 10-win team we're talking about right now. You need to respect what they've done, and maybe the loss against the Ravens and how lopsided that was turned some people off that were starting to come onto that Dolphins bandwagon. Bottom line is, Jay Ajayi has been remarkable this season. They found ways to win with two different quarterbacks. They started out 1-4. They're now 10-5. Respect what the Dolphins have done this season and their body of work. Ed says, do you think the Bills are going to get a new defensive coordinator? If Rex is still there, then no. I don't think that's going to happen. But if Rex is gone, obviously you're going to get all new coaches everywhere. Offense, defense, you name it. There are going to be new coaches all around in Buffalo. That's a problem. Because the defense just isn't what you would expect from a unit that just a couple of years ago was one of the most feared in all of the National Football League. Nicholas Powell says, what weakness can the Steelers expose versus the Dolphins in the playoffs? Right now is their defense. That's the biggest weakness the Dolphins have. Their run defense is shoddy. Their pass offense, we know the secondary isn't any good. Their secondary is the biggest, weakest link on that entire football team. You can attack them in their secondary, and the Steelers will do that if they get an opportunity. If Ben has time, like Tyrod did in this game, he's going to carve that Dolphins secondary up. So you can run it with Le'Veon, which will then set up play-action fake and opportunities to really get the football down the field because then they'll have to respect run. They won't be able to pin their ears back. You'll have the time you need, which is what the Bills did in this game. They abused them on the ground, which then put the Dolphins' pass rushers on their heels, and that allowed Tyrod to have time to survey the field and pick them apart down the field. So, Keith Benj, and I'm sorry again if I messed that name up, do you blame inconsistency of Jay Ajayi on him or something else? He has 6 games under 50 yards, 4 games above 50, but below 100, and then 4 games above 100, and 3 of them over 200. Yeah, some of it is on him, but a lot of it is on the offensive line. The offensive line has been a source of frustration because they can't stay healthy in Miami. Brendan Albert is in and out of the lineup. Your rookie, Laramie Tunzel, dealing with a number of different injuries this season. You just need guys to stay healthy. If you can get that, the center position has been laughable this season with all the injuries and all the different guys starting at center. You just need continuity. You need guys to stay healthy. If you can get that, it doesn't really matter at this point. You just want 5 guys to say, all right, we the 5 that's going to start the rest of the way. If you can get that, I think you'll be fine and up front, and Jay Ajayi will be more consistent. But when you don't know what the guy in front of you is going to do or the guy next to you is going to do, hard to cut off of a block, hard to know if you should come off of this double team and get to the second level or not because the trust isn't there. You know, hard to know what's going on when you're not used to that guy being next to you. So I think that's the biggest issue with Jay Ajayi's numbers this year and the inconsistencies, the up and the downs of his statistical output this season is really based off the offensive line. That's what I would tell you the biggest issue has been with him. But in any event, Dolphins get it done 34-31 in overtime. What a thrilling finish to this football game. What a win for the Dolphins. And they're in now at 10-5 due to the Broncos' loss. They earned their way into the postseason, and that's a beautiful thing for the Miami Dolphins, to earn your way in and not have to back your way in via a win, a loss, and have someone else lose and you get in. This is the way you want to do it. Clinch it on your own, and they did that, getting the win over the Buffalo Bills on the road. The Dolphins have been impressive on the road in the division. Now they get a chance to go home against the Patriots. I don't think either one of these teams really have much to play for in this game, so I really don't know what the outcome is going to be. But frankly, I don't think the Dolphins really care. And if I'm the Dolphins, I'm resting up all the guys that need it, including Jay Ajayi, this upcoming week to get ready for my playoff appearance. Whomever that's going to be against, most likely the Steelers, you want to make sure you go into that game as fresh and healthy as possible. For the Bills, another disappointing loss. Now you're 8-7 or 7-8 on the season, and for all intents and purposes, another season that you're disappointed in the outcome of it. And I think changes are going to be made in the offseason. We'll see what happens, but I think you start with Rex Ryan probably being out in Buffalo, and him probably having to get a defensive coordinator job, which is probably not what he wants to do. But he's not getting another head coaching job. I think this was his last opportunity to be a head coach right away. Now, if he goes out and balls as a defensive coordinator yet again, he may get another opportunity down the road. But right now, I think his days in Buffalo may be numbered. Dolphins get it done, clinch a playoff spot in the process, 34-31, with the win on the road in Buffalo in overtime. Big time stuff from the Dolphins. If it happens in the National Football League, whether big or small, we cover it all here on Lockdown Coverage. Dolphins get a huge win over the Bills and end up getting in the playoffs after the weekend's events. Remember, we're changing the game one live feed at a time. Got more games to break down. Browns get their first win of the season. Who even knew how the hell the Rams and the 49ers game ended? We'll talk about that game. And Packers continuing their hot ways. They get it done over the Vikings. All of those games and more here on Lockdown Coverage. I'll see you a little bit later on. Have a good one.